Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here with you guys. We have the one and only Will Fix here.
What's up?
How you doing tonight, Will?
Man, I'm doing so good. I can't stand it. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Anyway, do a little head fake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna first start things off by welcoming some of you guys. Obviously, what you guys see tag tonight, for the most part, unless it gets too late. We're gonna talk a lot about XRP, obviously, with Will. On Tuesdays, as you guys know, he is on limited time, and then when he basically signs off, we'll get into some of that QNT, some JASMY, I have some XDC, just a brief segment in regards to XDC. It's XDC 2.0. Were you aware of 2.0? Basically, I guess went live yesterday. So I want to point some of that out. And then also we have a little bit of Casper for you guys that we need to get into as well. So if that's your thing, please smash the like. Make sure you subscribe to both channels. And let's start things off by welcoming a few of you guys. We're going to start off with the first comment. It's from All Might at 5:12 p.m. He says he doubt XRP will survive once the BSV case is over. They stole Craig Wright's Bitcoin protocol to make a lesser version of it and pawn it off to all of you. But in the end, we'll see. Ha, 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 ha. Well, welcome nonetheless. My thing is I'd rather take a chance on in a few of these things. But, hey, we welcome a different perspective. And glad to have you here tonight. There's Dab. We also have Tim Shea, who says, hey, Mayor Crypto Commissioner, good to see you here tonight. Tim Shea, representing the 589th District of the XRP Army. And see, that's what I love about Tim, Still get mad about it. He just says, hey, All Might, gives him a dab. Good stuff. Light, I just want to thank you so much for all your support on the recorded, also on the live. It means a lot. Thanks for being here tonight. Brittany's also in the house. Good to see you, Ms. Brittany. Gabby's in the house. I welcome a couple more people. Jack Thompson always says shalom. Good evening, Crypto Avengers. Thanks for being here, Jack from Tucson. And we have the one and only Mr. Boomer Effin Sooner. Good to see you, Mr. Boomer Effin Sooner. All right.
What's the story behind the name?
You don't want to know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's okay. It's just the old partner gave him the he was originally Boomer Sooner, and then he was like, it sounds better if I just give it, a middle name, and that's fine. Yeah. All right. So how about you start welcoming some people? I saw Dennis Leal is also here. How about you welcome some people from your channel?
Let's see. We got a couple. There's Marver, Steve. Good evening, fellows. What's up, man? There's my lovely wife. Hello. Daddy, is it Smonk?
Let me see.
Is
good to see you, Marie.
Going to do anything about XRP scam ads? Apparently, no.
Yeah, even Brad Garlinghouse pointed that out. He said that what's wrong with you, YouTube? You sleep at the wheel again, quote unquote. That's what he said.
And Messy Leo, hello from Sweden. Hey, Sweden. I don't know how to do a Swedish accent.
So he's probably just like shaking his head right now. That's okay. Yeah. But that's yeah, so far
on my channel, what do we got?
Yeah, it's kind of a
19 watching right now.
It's kind of a funny turnout, but sometimes it takes time for people to filter on in. But yeah, glad to have you guys here. Let's see here. What else we got from Boomer? He says XRP ETF scam. That's funny. All right. Light says it's time for maximum of information. The one that's probably going to take the cake as far as the maximum information will be the QNT segment. I'm telling you flat out, you guys have QNT. Stick around for that segment. It's Quant and Samsung. Does that not sound cool? That sounds super cool. Shout out to Quant Papa. All right. GS is in the house. Gerald's in the house. We're going to rapid fire through a lot of these. We're just going to go to the other screen and get into it. I saw GF Burka's back. He was the guy I was telling you about, Will, in regards to Caspa. So when you get your miner back from China, and all fully, tweaked and bells and whistles all running. Yeah, we'll have to get you guys together or something. All right, let's see here. Let's welcome a few more of you guys. We are, only 6 minutes into it, so not too bad. Triple C's in the house. Cool Cat Crypto. Dinyu's in the house, aka Din G. Let's see here. MMI would be the drip. May need some penicillin. Oh boy, I'm allergic to penicillin. If anybody wants to take Maximus out on a lethal injection, just give me penicillin. It's fatal to me. Little known fact. Oh, really? I'll just do it right now, Max. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Johnny Gucci 9, Max Will, what up, fellas? Hey, man, glad to see you again. And we have Stardog is in the house. Always good to see Stardog. Boom, boom. We have, well, all right, you guys, the ETF is real. Well, there's some ETFs that are real, and I don't know about the XRP one, but the one from the other night, I guess Will's going to pull up some stuff at some point, and, we'll get into that. But, yeah, I don't know. All right, let's see here. GF Burke, he says, Caspa, I'm in long since yesterday. Nice. Well, all right, you guys, is Casper ISO? It's definitely part of that list. But I don't know if it's officially ISO. I'll have to double check that. It's always been kind of a gray area in regards to that, but we always kind of throw it into the mix. Mr. Lambo's Crypto Talk, good to see you. Peter Sutton. I'm new here. I don't really want to take over the comments, but I do have a few XRP questions regarding the filing yesterday. Sure, absolutely. All right. And I think for the most part, we welcome everybody. Brian Dowie's also in the house. Good to see you again, Brian. Always a pleasure. Will Fix, do you want to take it away in regards to the XRP, or do you have something that you want to share in regards to yesterday's fake news, the fake out?
Yeah, it was fake news from what I understand. BlackRock didn't confirm it. In fact, confirmed that it was fake from what I understand. I did a search on Bard to see if it would give me some facts and figures, but it didn't. Basically, it just said, no, there was no XRP ETF filed yesterday on November 13th. There was a fake filing that suggested BlackRock, the world's largest asset management firm, had filed an XRP exchange-traded fund in the U.S. state of Delaware. The filing caused the price to spike, but it fell back to previous levels after BlackRock confirmed that it was fake. So that's what I have on it. But you know what it did confirm? I mean, what positive came out of it? You see that 12% spike?
Yeah, it was a 1 hour God candle. It was crazy.
Yeah. Which I think those spikes are going to be puny compared to institutional money. But there you have it, folks. So I released, I don't know if any of y'all saw it, at least a short, about a minute long, just suggesting you could get ready if you like, and if you like trading. I don't care for trading in XRP because I'm too risk averse. Risk in this respect, meaning I don't want to risk missing the big moves. But anyway, so that was a kind of a letdown. It was a big. I don't really want an ETF though, Max. Do you? I don't want the calls and puts on an ETF and the control over that thing to start doing suppression like gold and silver.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. It's kind of like a catch-22. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, the nice thing, obviously, is it brings in a lot of money to contribute towards the overall crypto market, and that's always a good thing. I look at it from that perspective, but I also look at it from like what you're saying as well. So it's kind of like the saying goes, you can't have your cake and eat it too, you know?
Well, it would be good to make money off of, but then long term, it would start to get boring as big money started just trying to control it.
You mean kind of like your thumbnail where you're like, stop all the money.
Yeah, stop.
It's all raining on your head. You know, Din G stated it would be funny if it was a bunch of nickels and dimes or quarters or whatever, and the next one raining on your head because you look like you're such pain, right? Anyway, well, you know what? We'll get into a little bit of Ripple. This is a brand new report, basically, that was from yesterday. A little bit of a visual, which is nice. So let's go ahead and share this for you guys. This comes officially, obviously, from Ripple. And it says, what's the most exciting thing about CBDCs and, of course, stable coins? You know, you guys know me. I've been covering the whole thing of stable coins. My focus, obviously, is on the yen-denominated stable coins because we understand how big that's going to be for Japan, especially JASMY, because of the pairings. But look what it says from Ripple. Discover the Ripple CBDC platform and learn why over 90% of central banks are actively exploring CBDCs on just that, Ripple. So we're going to pull this up on another tab here in a bit, but for the moment, we're going to play this quick video, slightly under 2 minutes. Listen to what is mentioned here. Here we go.
I often get asked the question, what's the most exciting thing about CBDCs and stablecoins? In one word, innovation. My name is James Wallace, and I head up CBDC at Ripple. You might already know that over 90% of central banks around the world are now exploring CBDCs. There are many drivers for CBDC, including the decline of cash, improving payments efficiency, lowering costs, and the desire to innovate the ways in which money is used. Ripple's CBDC platform is your one-stop shop for the creation of digital currency, designed for minting, managing, transacting, and redeeming CBDCs and stablecoins. Here's how it works. First, standard APIs enable seamless integration of the CBDC platform into a central bank's existing systems. This allows the bank to leverage their current infrastructure. Central banks can then mint their CBDC on a private version of the XRP ledger that they control. Digital currencies can then be distributed directly to authorized accounts, either through commercial banks or directly to consumer wallets. Transactions run on a private ledger and are settled in seconds, and this is all done in a regulated and secure environment. The Ripple CBDC platform also permits the secure destruction of currency, giving the bank full control over monetary supply. The results? Lower costs, faster transactions, greater financial inclusion for all, and all done with a minimal carbon footprint. So explore this with us today. We'll work together to build a custom pilot and future-proof your financial infrastructure.
Woohoo!
Yeah, pretty cool. There's a lot more to than just that video, guys. There's this actual thread, if you want to call it that, straight from Ripple. I'm gonna share that with you guys here in a moment. Here it is. And you know, it has a whole, I guess you could say, outline of it and so on. Now, Will, earlier, I think it was today, you were showing that highlight of all those particular different organizations that decided to team up with Ripple. You want to elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Well, I was just watching all the, I was watching each of the companies that they had listed there on video, kind of give, I don't know, what do you call it, their testimony. And I noticed just every single one of them mentioned that once they became a partner, they were not just able to expand their business, because that's one thing, because if you're able to, then, you know, you seek out ways to do that. But Ripple actually facilitated broadening their capabilities by saying, hey, here's all the partners, you know, here's everybody you can send money to, receive money from. So instantly these payment systems grew, you know, they had more capabilities, more countries, more partners. And so just using the systems, one thing, it also showed, and I'm going to be looking at this to see if I can show you guys. They also showed some of the API system, what the interface looks like. sending, receiving money, and it had on the right side, kind of like our comments on the right side, it had the money sent, sent and received. And you could kind of see in their little example how the cash flow is going to go. It's not just one big giant lump sum for the day. It's a constant flow going, which is better for stability. Instead of gulping payments through the system, there'll be kind of a flow. But let me see if I can find that for you.
You're saying that Ripple's the Slurpee of crypto?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The big gulp?
Yeah, the big gulp.
There you go.
Well, one of the things that a lot of people ask is if there are transactions in 3 seconds, then the money's not going to be in there long. That's a legitimate thought, isn't it? It's like, yeah, okay, so you send $10 million and it's in there for 3 seconds. It may be in there 3 seconds. It's 3 seconds to arrive, but then I'm sure there's going to be some settlement. Then is there going to be conversion? They may hold it in XRP because they're going to be sending XRP too. So instead of having what do they call the piles of money in the Nostro Vostro accounts? It's settlement money. Instead of having piles of settlement money, they might just have a throughput, for a few days where they just use the money. You know what I'm saying? They just hold it until they need to send it.
In regards to on-demand liquidity, you mean ODL?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because if every transaction was just sent and then cashed out, then the very next few minutes, somebody at that company is going to need to be sending some money. So do they go out and then buy it right then? So no, they're not going to do it that way. That would just be inefficient and weird. When you're dealing with money, if I owed you $10 and you owed me $8, we could just swap $2, couldn't we?
Yeah.
We don't have to go here and then, okay, here. And then, we can just do a $2 transaction. So more than likely, that's how they'll do that. Now, let me see.
Yeah, fair enough. Let me get more into this. There's some other things I wanted to point out here. So this was like one of their most recent ones that they posted about some of these central bank digital currency solutions, I guess you could say. It says that each solution is built on a private ledger based upon the XRP ledger technology, proven blockchain that has transacted over 70 million times over the course of 10 years and is trusted by financial institutions across the world. I'll show you that quote from this guy in regards to Palau. We know that, when it comes to XRP, the Republic of Palau is one of those, test countries, test pilot CBDC. It says, why choose the Ripple CBDC platform? It says the Ripple CBDC platform offers several product modules, including issuer, operator, end user wallets, even, of course, obviously the ledger. But I like this part right here. Stability, security, resilience, build trust using XRP ledgers, proven technology enabling consistent standards, privacy, and security. Last night when I was talking about quant, I was talking a lot about standards, and especially when it comes to ISO TC 307. But in regards to all this, whether it's not ISO TC 307, whether it's, for the one for XRP, ISO 222, you have to have standards, because if you don't, then it will always be the Wild West of crypto, and where we're going from there. And it's basically this: access and inclusion, enable wholesale and retail use cases by supporting a variety of participants, including banks, fintechs, members of the public. But they have this whole outline here. I would highly suggest some of you guys take a look into it. I'm going to drop into the comments. I don't know if you had something you wanted to add to this. I mean, there's a lot more to it.
Well, I did on something else that I ran across on
Sure.
one of the companies, whatever you call it, their testimony, their little statement about Ripple partnership. I believe it was the guy that was from Malaysia. He was talking about that they were developing with Ripple a tool that you could make payment with that wouldn't require you to convert your currency to their currency. So you're bypassing those fees and the exchange rate. Sometimes they don't charge a fee. They just have the exchange rate be less than it actually really is. And that's the fee. But sometimes they'll do trade you on spot and then just charge a fee. But whenever you do that, it's weird for those of you that's traveled. I've traveled and used several different currencies, and it's kind of weird because you're having to count because the numbers are all different. You got to pay 10,000 of what? 10,000. But if you scanned an app that paid, well, it does all the converting for you. So I guess they're paying directly with XRP in that case. But I found that interesting because that's a whole nother market, currency exchanging, that just gets eliminated.
So somebody like my cousin Stephanie, who, basically made her fortune, if you will, with FX trading, that's going to be a threat to that industry, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, not FX trading. FX trading will still be a thing, but it'll be CBDC trading on FX trading, just currency conversion, a little bit different.
Okay.
With currency,
I take your word for it because I never got into the whole FX trading. For me, it was just a little bit too much of a learning curve and so on. And I don't know. I don't ever think I really get into it, but I mean, she made a killing on it and so on, obviously.
Yeah. You got a family member. She made herself rich doing it.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just because the currencies fluctuate. China's a big one. They'll manipulate their own currency, and they like to manipulate the exchange rate before they cash out a bunch of bonds. So they actually get more. But you can just take a currency, trade it from $1 to something, and say the yuan, because maybe you see something going on in the bond market, for instance, and you're going to see that there'll be a change in the value. Then the value changes, and then you use that other currency. If it gets stronger against the dollar, then it turns around and buys more dollars than what you use to buy that currency. And people make money that way all over the world, just trading currencies. It's like an arbitrage difference, really. It's kind of the same.
Okay. I'm gonna pull up a little bit more that we have here. I mean, it's not a lot, right? And it goes to XRP, but
we had more join. We got 49 over now.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody on my channel, I love you.
Okay. Yeah, we ticked up to like 86, so obviously more people will come in, but they have this whole example here, right? Sustainability, commit to sustainable innovation through the XRP ledger's carbon neutral tech. Uses a unique consensus mechanism, consumes negligible energy. They show you some of this overview here. But look at this. I don't know. It's kind of nice to see a visual for a change instead of just talking about it. Lithium Bank, New Leaf Bank Group, Midland Financial Services. Shows the amount, the balance in CBDC. Obviously, if a person wants to get more into this, I mean, some people obviously hate this stuff, and I get that, but it's gonna come. It's gonna come sooner than people think, obviously. And of course, everybody knows that Ripple transacts between 2 to 3 seconds. It says interoperability enables cross-asset, cross-border transactions. Of course, when connected to another CBDC or stablecoin. How about this redemption? A lot of people don't even talk about redemption. We just think of, the TPS and stuff, but it says participants can return funds on the Ripple CBDC platform to the issuer in exchange, of course, for UN fiat. It says destroy. The CBDC platform supports the secure destruction of currency, giving the bank full control over the supply. When people see this, if they just went to this website and they saw this only, it'd be like, man, this is absolute doom and gloom. This is like the New World Order right here. You know what I mean?
I can see the benefit though.
Yeah.
If you consider this, for instance, now you don't always have this situation, but for instance, right now we have Saudi Arabia accepting other currencies for oil. So there's a lot of American dollars that now won't be used. That causes inflation because it's not used. So it's just money in the system that somebody's just going to, spend. You got that's an inflationary item. You can't just burn it up. The whole purpose of raising interest rates is to try to force people to pay off loans and to stop the creation of money so that you make some money disappear. Because the true definition of inflation is increased monetary supply. But it's turned into, which it's not a good definition, but it's turned into higher consumer prices. But that's not what inflation is. That's higher prices. But the result of an increased monetary supply is higher prices because there's more money chasing something. So you got to try to burn. How do you get rid of money? You have to burn it up. The only way to get money out of a fiat system is to pay off loans. So when they say that they can destroy money, I mean, that could be a bad thing because anytime man's in control of money, they're going to screw it up. But it could be a good thing handled responsibly. What we have is a system not handled responsibly. So that's why it's screwed up.
Yeah, I mean, the example I used about, like, for instance, like firearms, right? There's a lot of people that are, pro Second Amendment. There's people that are like anti-guns. I look at all this stuff kind of like, this is a tool. It could be used for good or bad. Guns could be used for good or bad too. You know what I mean? There's positives and negatives to it all. All right, let's see here. We didn't share this. I want to look at this quote for a second. It says, with Ripple's groundbreaking tech, we can experiment with CBDCs, with their existing payments infrastructure while ensuring efficient, cost-effective cross-border transfers. No kidding. This lady is from the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan. And
well, look at her name.
What?
Yeah.
This one.
What is that? Yang Chen Chishajil.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like the first time I tried to say Ingve Malmsteen.
Right.
I was like, Uigi? What is his name?
Oh. But the main thing here that I want you guys to take away from this is the recent one from Ripple, and they're putting a lot of emphasis, obviously, on CBDCs. They're putting a lot of emphasis, obviously, with the coverage that we had yesterday in regards to positioning themselves well in Africa. There's a lot of basically like opportunity there for not just Ripple, but obviously Stellar, right? Look what it says here. Development of a USD-backed stablecoin. Of course, that's a report from July 26th and so on, but there's now other countries. They're doing the same thing. And, Will Fix and I were talking about the whole thing of, those examples you had in your video earlier today. And that is, various organizations. And let's just be honest. I think some of these, they won't come out and say it, but, they have decided to partner up with Ripple because Ripple is the enabler, if you will. It gives them so much more access to things that maybe they weren't even, never even realized. It's like you could totally tell. I mean, some of those guys that were in that little interview segment of your video,
mm-hmm.
I mean, they kind of look like kind of look like a deer in a headlight,
Yeah, you could almost tell like they were representing a small company that just got jolted to big and almost a little bit out of place. Didn't they seem a little bit out of place? Like, I'm suddenly here talking on the Ripple network channel. And
Yeah,
I
there's
was
one guy.
just a peon the other day.
Yeah, there's one guy who's kind of like stuck in a suit, and you could tell he's like kind of like the suit didn't even fit him, and he's just kind of awkward. But you know what I mean. But you could tell that he realized how this was going to benefit his company and so on. But my main key takeaway from it was the example of mass adoption. A lot of times, we use examples even from the retail side. You have your aunt or your grandma or whoever, your mom, and she don't even know what crypto is. She might have heard of Bitcoin and so on, but she doesn't need to, I guess you could say, take the deep dives like we do and so on. What matters is that she'll swipe her debit card, like Mike Cornwell always pointed out, and not even realize it's tied into crypto. Well, what about these organizations that are literally partnering up with Ripple and like way more than it was before? I mean, you see a lot of them pop up left or right, and they see that, there's benefits because it simply takes a network and says on a silver platter, here, you're now part of this. Before you weren't. So now that you do see those interviews where you get the awkward conversation of the guy who totally doesn't know what blockchain is, totally doesn't understand what DLT is and so on, but they do understand that, we have to team up with these innovators. Otherwise, we're going to get left in the dust. We're going to end up being like AOL.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And Fedwire was supposed to be this big solid thing, right? And then what do we have? 850,000 payments that didn't work this week.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Yeah. They got it squared away, but it's like, okay, what was that about?
Yeah.
I said it was an update issue.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not suspicious though, are you?
No, not really. So another thing I want to pull up for you guys real quick, in regards to not just XRP, but it's a little bit of like XRP, Stellar, HBAR, Casper. I thought I would go ahead and share this. I gone ahead and retweeted this. It's pretty good. It's from Cypress to Manicore. Great content creator and so on. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up on the screen for you guys. So Cypress says here, we are seeing more institutional adoption. Obviously, earlier we were just talking about adoption. He says, Google Cloud, head of digital assets, we have gone through a period where we proved the reliability and scalability in order to see institutional adoption. Now, all that's left is regulation. I really feel as though that is the next big step. A lot of you guys feel like as though that's the same, you feel the same. But yeah, what's tagged here? HBAR, Casper, Stellar, Ripple's XRP. This one is also only about a minute. Let's go ahead and play this. Thank you to Cypress to Manicore. Give them a follow if you haven't done so already. Here we go.
Continued growth in regards to developer adoption. The other thing too, I think.
Can you hear that, or is it too low?
It's too low.
Well, we're not gonna share that. It's too low. So sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people need to turn on an amplifier. I think that's Cypress to Manicore. He's a good content creator, but yeah, you definitely need that. Saw another one he shared a while back. Well, I guess if anything, we'll take a quick break. We'll get into the comments. Is there any particular questions or comments that you want to get into?
Let's see. Let me go over here and look. Oh, man. Let's see. We got 37. Let me back it up here. Kaipo, hi from Australia. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Stay
hello.
calm. Brad G videos coming at me fast and furious.
Yeah.
Yeah, XLM spiked exactly the same. Yep. Is it Kaipo? Kaipo, B-Rock trying to control crypto. Yep. What is up with this BlackRock ETF everybody's screaming about? Oh man, absolutely nothing. It was a big farce. Somebody just filed it as if, faking it. And now the Department of Justice is seeking to see who that was, because apparently that wasn't legal. Yeah, somebody already answered that. Potted Jam. Hey, y'all. God bless y'all. God bless you, Potted Jam. XRP dipping in price so we can buy more? Absolutely. Yeah, none of these movements like this, reactionary stuff, it feels bad. You look at it and you go, oh man, but it doesn't mean anything, because this stuff's it's gonna start rocking out, and these small prices aren't going to mean anything. Let it dip. Buy now. Yes, buy now. Yep. Question: if you only had 1,000, would you put all into XRP at current price, or would you buy other cryptos at lower price like XLM at 12 cents? Well, it's a good question. A lot of speculation behind both those answers. Both those coins. XLM is about half as many coins as XRP, I understand. Yet if you look at the price, it's far less than half. I personally believe it's possible for XLM to have more of a multiple than XRP quicker. XRP will probably smoke it after a while, but I think we may see a bigger move. If those were the two coins I was looking at, I would split the money in half. Can't get more than fair than that. Don't deprive one coin over the other. Anyone else into CAS? I know very little about it, but I have a K3 miner that's being worked on to be returned here shortly, probably in the next couple weeks. So we're going to learn more about it. Max is going to do some deep diving for me and teach me.
I don't know, man. I got a lot of stuff I already researched.
Yeah, you got some tonight, don't you?
You'd be surprised how many requests I get for people to, hey, man, can you look at this? Hey, man, can you look at that? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's only so much time in one day.
Now, you offer a service to do an individual deep dive for people, don't you? Like,
yeah, nobody's taking advantage of that because, people are like, what? I got to pay for this? But
yeah.
I offered I have this thing where you can do 10 of them. I literally walk you by the hand on some of this stuff, but anyway, it's okay.
Penrose, nothing going to happen until the court case is over. Maybe there's still stuff happening, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of freedom after they finally pay their fines or whatever. Let's see. Yeah. Some Potted Jams answering some of them questions. Stay calm. The court case conclusions unknown. May impact. Yeah. Producer, third son. Why AVAX been pumping? I don't know. I don't know anything about AVAX. Do you know anything about AVAX, Brother Max?
You mean Avalanche?
AVAX?
That's Avalanche. I never got into it, but it did very well last bull market 2021. Did really, really well. Question:
will we see another black swan event that will cause bear market in crypto? Probably. I mean, anything.
Black swan events can happen in a bull run or a bear market. So, I mean,
yeah,
those things can happen.
Yeah, a black swan for crypto. It's going to be harder and harder for a black swan event to hurt anything, because I think we're going to have so much happen. Our bond market's getting ready to be in trouble. I don't know if you guys saw the video I released that I think February, March, there's about $5 trillion of principal that the U.S. is going to have to cough up. So they're probably either going to buy their own bonds, drop rates to zero, but nobody wants rates at zero that's purchasing and trying to give us money. Only people who owe money want zero. So that we're already not very attractive unless we jack the bond rates way up. we've had a decrease in our credit rating, there's trouble brewing. February, March could really be a major problem in the bond market, which would cause a problem in the dollar, which would probably benefit crypto, because as people pull out of that, they got to stick it somewhere. So we can tell the politicians where they can stick it, but it'll be probably gold, silver, and crypto that'll receive a lot of that money.
That's a good point.
Let's see. Stay calm. I am praying. Whoops. Court case doesn't go past June. Yeah, no doubt, man. Let's just get this over with. Wrap up the banks. Would it be besides? I could just feel settlement incoming. Me too. In good time. Let's see. Potted Jam, Penrose. They have until 2030 to get it set up. Stock up and 2030 to get what set up? I might not have been following that conversation right. All right, here's a question for me. Question, will fix. Could we see another black swan event? Oh, yeah. We just did that one. All right. Looks like I've answered. Let's see. What's going on? Greetings from Europe. Hey. Woohoo. So you're from all of Europe, huh? What particular country are you from? Crypto Illuminati? They'll answer in a minute, I suppose. Spain. Cool. Very cool. All righty. Max?
Well, I mean, my main segments I cover tonight is QNT, JASMY, XDC, Casper. I mean, I could get into that, but
Okay.
I don't really have a lot of XRP. I was telling everybody yesterday that we would save it today for you when you're here. I understand that you had some interruptions earlier, and that's to be expected. It's okay. Stuff happens, you know.
Well, the only thing that we really have news on, there's really not any new news on XRP. We just have the price doing a little bit of correction right now. So I don't really have anything that's brand new other than we had the fake out, the price fake.
Yeah.
It's okay. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have anything, Max.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, maybe, I don't know. You be gone almost 45 minutes.
Yeah, you can, hey, cover some Caspa if you want to. I'm excited to hear about it.
About Caspa?
Yeah.
Well, I can get into that in just a bit. And what happened earlier is I had all my tabs ready, and then we had a power outage, and then it lost tabs, and then I tried to pull them all back at once, and my browser wasn't having that. Usually I can do that, but I don't know, one of those things. But yeah, let me just pull up a few more of these. If you want to just double check who's in the comments, let me go pull it up. Let me see. Nothing? Got into all the comments already?
Yeah, I was looking at some notes that I did have that I took on Ripple.
Okay.
Which is, let's see. Oh, yeah. It was about the pre-funding requirements. There was a company, NIUM. It's a financial technology company, and they provide cross-border remittances and payment services. And by using Ripple's technology, they were able to eliminate pre-funding requirements and offer faster remittances at a lower cost. in the Philippines and Mexican corridors, which was interesting because we were talking about what made me pick up on that was we were talking about the piles of money on Nostro Vostro accounts and settlement monies. Pre-funding requirements are a common requirement for traditional cross-border remittance providers. This means that the sender of the remittance must deposit the full amount of the remittance into the provider's account before the remittance can be sent. This can be a significant barrier to access for people who are sending remittances from developing countries. The access to banking services may be limited. So Ripple's technology eliminates the need for pre-funding by using a distributed ledger system to track and settle transactions. So this means that I think it's NEM. NEM can send remittances to the Philippines and Mexico without having to deposit the full amount of the remittance into the bank account in advance. So that movement of money doesn't become necessary. The results faster and cheaper remittances for customers. According to Ripple, NEM's been able to reduce remittance times from days to minutes and reduce remittance costs up to 80% in the Philippines and the Mexican corridors. Just imagine that, that it costs you only 20% of what you were paying. That's fantastic. Then that they don't have to come up with the money first. So you see the difficulty is not coming up with the money, but getting the money into the account. So they already have the money to move it. But then there's certain accounts they have to get that to. And those are the systems that are slow. So by using Ripple's API technology, they just get an interface plugged right into the back and they have their money in the system already. Ripple just, bam, there it goes. This makes it much easier. The significance of Ripple's technology is that it has the potential to revolutionize, we know most of this, the way that cross-border payments are made by eliminating pre-funding requirements and reducing remittance costs. Ripple can make cross-border payments more accessible and affordable for everyone. This was for my Twitter account, these notes. Here's a more detailed explanation though NEM's use of Ripple in the Philippines, through NEM's use of Ripple in the Philippines and Mexico corridors, this demonstrates how the technology for real-world companies to power real-world cross-border payments in the Philippines, and it's the largest remittance corridors in the world. So we think of those countries as being, like there's not a lot of money. They move more money in some of these countries than we do. A lot of our money stays within the United States, but these smaller countries that most of the money that they have, the workers will travel from one country to another, and all these businesses, almost like we have states, their countries are so close together and the population is so dense, and where the work is located, just the money just moves like crazy through those corridors for all of those surrounding countries in that area. So anyway, they were able to eliminate pre-funding requirements, and that was just huge news for these companies. And that's at only spending 20% of the cost. It's just benefited everybody there. And actually in those countries too, Ripple's developed a lot of person to person, but it's cross-border person to person. So it's both and it's made a big difference. Some of that was covered by one of those, I think the Philippines fella in my video today. He covered, it might not have been in my video, but in his like 2 or 3 minute segment, he was talking about how it improved the welfare of the families, because they could trust that the system was going to be in place, and they could trust the timing instead of waiting days. And, because when you need your money, you need your money. Anyway, that was some of the notes that I had, Brother Max.
No worries.
It's value added is the way I think about things like this. What makes me count on XRP and not worry about it dropping to 62 cents? While it's dropping to 62 cents, we're reading stuff that's just changing people's lives for whole nations of people. It's amazing.
Yeah, more than. All right, let me just double check a couple of comments. By the way, Joaquin Phoenix, that is one interesting avatar. But we welcome you. He says, you already read that about. But I had to highlight your avatar. That is one awesome avatar. I just want to state that. But anyway. And then the username Joaquin Phoenix. Interesting. All right. We're going to use one of these comments as a bookmark. And by the way, Will Fix and I, we used to play, Medal of Honor Allied Assault years ago, like 21 plus years ago. And we saw all sorts of people with all sorts of interesting usernames, like Potted Jam and Joaquin Phoenix and just you name it, right? It was pretty cool stuff. But yeah, glad to have you guys here nonetheless. I guess what I'll do then is simply get into so the coverage. Edward Vinson. I was trying to ask, Mike Cornwell earlier, what kind of hunt you were going after. Like, you went on a hunting trip. What are you hunting? All right. So I'm going to take out the branding here. And, Will's saying that he wants to see a little bit of, some Casper with the hard R. Let's pull this up for a second. This is some new
Casper
stuff.
Or Caspa?
With the hard R.
Oh, Casper.
Not the clam chowder version.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a nice little icon in regards to See that? I don't know if you see it on your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I thought you were covering Caspa.
Nah, Casper.
Casper.
There we go. That was better. It's not covering up the screen. So let's pull this up. This comes straight from the Casper network. It says improved vision clear path. They came out with a new, I guess you could say like a more up-to-date paper. Right. So I'm going to show you just a little bit about this. I'm not going to show all of it to you guys because I don't want to bore you with too much of the details. Right. But let's pull this up. Here's a little brief intro. It says the proliferation of blockchain tech over the past decade proved an existing need for a more robust, secure remote computation solution. While cloud computing and centralized servers will fill one need, decentralized systems provide an alternative with several specific differences. The nature of blockchain relies on disparate parties, validating any business logic conducted on chain. Now, in regards to Casper, this takes the form of individual nodes running in tandem to support unified global state. Global state on Casper blockchain exists as a Merkle tree. Casper's implementation of the Merkle tree, if I'm pronouncing it right, excuse me if I'm not. Gotta love the people who don't like the way we pronounce things, right? Anyway, we were talking about that earlier. Key value stores data structure allows any data to be shared individually in a verifiable way through Merkle proof. We already know some of this about Casper uses, of course, proof of stake. But this part right here about the deployment of the code consisting of compiled WASM. WASM always stands out when it comes to Casper. Deploy will cause some degree of change to global state, but installing contract code, interacting with previously installed contracts, or simply transferring motes between purses. Interesting terminology. But it says Casper blockchain does not natively recognize a CSPR, which exists as a convenience for users. A single CSPR token contains 1 billion motes. Goes more into detail on the bottom. It says Casper features multi-signature approvals with weighted keys as an additional access control measure. Action thresholds restrict what actions an account can take based on the weight of their signature. So they have a lot more to it than just what you see here. And let's take you back to this for a second. And it's basically this. I think there's like a little brief video. There is. So let's share this. And like it says here, how is the Casper ahead of its game? Or here's basically how's ahead of its game. The scalable infrastructure ensures your dApps can handle high transaction volumes without a hitch. Right, we always want to see scalability. Code seamlessly in widely used programming languages. Say goodbye to limitations and hello to future proofing. What does it mean to be future proof blockchain? Gilbert Verdin's always talking about that. Well, this one's only 25 seconds. If anything, I think we'll stay in the frame. But let's have a looky. Here we go.
To me, what it means is that you can build on Casper and know that as your business grows, as your project grows, that the protocol is going to support you in that growth. It's going to provide those advanced features that you may not need today, but if you're successful, you're going to need them in the future. So you should build on a protocol that's going to be ready for you when you are successful.
That sounds so simple, but well explained. I want to jump down to this part also about tokenization. So they have this other one, and you guys got to keep in mind, this is all posted today. So, we don't get to give you Casper news every single day, but tokenization, smart financial contracts, of course, are at the heart, I should say, of what Casper offers. Casper allows organizations to tokenize digital securities within the broadly accepted Actus framework, which governs more than 98% of all financial contracts. With Nucleus Finance, which is this right here, building on Casper, organizations can now bundle disparate contracts together to increase transparency and more efficiently sell off in capital markets while realizing a higher rate of return at a greater speed. So bottom line, do you want another one from them? Yes, I would say yes, you do. How is Nucleus Finance innovating in the fintech space? We'll play this one as well. It's Casper, guys. Not every day we get to have coverage in regards to Casper. So let's play this as well. It's 34 seconds. Here we go.
We have a full stack solution, which has risk management and financial analytics software, a tokenization engine, and our layer one partner, Casper. Number two, we have a unique design around the tokens. We have an asset token, the counterparty token, which is liability token, and an NFT data token, which has info and value. And the last thing, which cannot be lost, is we have 35 years experience in this space, from policymakers and academics and regulators.
All right. Let me share this last part with you guys. So
I found something on it.
Okay.
I asked Bard about its compliance, ISO compliance.
In regards to Casper?
Yes.
Okay.
It says Casper, also known as Casper Network, is not officially ISO 20022 compliant. However, the Casper ecosystem is working towards compliance with this standard. In 2022, Casper Labs, the company behind Casper, announced a partnership with IBM to develop ISO 20022 compliant solutions for enterprise blockchain adoption. Additionally, the Casper community has been actively discussing, exploring ways to achieve ISO 20022 compliance. While Casper is not currently ISO compliant, its commitment to compliance could make it an attractive option for enterprises seeking to adopt blockchain technology. ISO is a global standard of financial messaging, and its adoption by Casper would facilitate seamless integration with traditional financial systems. And then it just goes over some of the benefits of Casper. Let's see. Overall, Casper's commitment with compliance is a positive development for the cryptocurrency industry. So that's pretty exciting to know. I'm an ISO snob because I like utility coins, but that's pretty hopeful. Casper gets that squared away. That'll be some big news. That'll definitely pop that coin big time, and they're working on it.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
I knew
bullish.
that. Yeah, I knew that. Casper basically wasn't officially ISO 2022, but I'm glad that you
Mhm.
shared that. Apparently, Mike Cornwell has tagged you on Twitter, so I don't know if you know how to check that.
I will seek out and see.
All right.
What's happening? Let's see here.
Do you know how to check that? You just click on the little bell.
Ooh, that smell. Oh, you mean bell? Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm getting tired. You think I'm goofy, man. I really get goofy when I get sleepy.
All
Where's
right.
the bell?
Well, I mean, we don't have to do it
I
today.
see Crypto Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's right here up on top. It's
Well, if you want to share that,
Ripple explains the latest mile in payments. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm not the one who's tagged. It's tagged to you, man. So
Oh, well,
I can't
I
see
thought,
that.
okay, I thought the way that you said it, I just thought it had to do with Casper. The last mile
he's talking
playbook.
about XRP. That's what he said. He said, hold on a second. He
All
said,
right, let me share it.
hold on. Will Fix Taggy on Twitter about XRP. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let me go. Let's see what it looks like here.
Okay.
Go to share screen. Now let's see. Can y'all see that? Am I on the right page here? No.
That's not the way to do it. You want to do it as a tab.
No, look at that. Yeah, I know, but I just got lost in infinity here.
Yeah, because you got to share as a tab. Otherwise, it does it all funky like that.
All right. Will do.
And knowing that if there's audio, nobody will be able to hear the audio either.
Well, I put share screen and then Chrome tab like this. Bam. How's that? Now let me see if I can make it
There you
bigger.
go. I shrunk it down for you.
Did you shrink it? Okay, I don't know if we can see it. Can we?
So in order to share, so just click on that he's sharing it with you.
Bam.
And if you want that bigger, just right click on it. Do copy URL. And then paste that to another tab, and you can make it even bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm too retarded to figure that out.
Come out of the frame to make it a little bit bigger. All right. We're out of the frame. Go for it.
All right. We got it. Yeah. What is last mile in payments? Similar to supply and change management, the transportation logistics. The last mile in global payments refers to the movement of value from a financial institution to the final delivery destination and the end recipient. This last leg of the payment journey is plagued with inconsistencies due to part of the differing policies and infrastructure country to country. All right, in many emerging economies, much of the global population remains unbanked and must seek alternative means for payment receipt. To meet this demand, the last mile payment incurs additional time for settlement and costs connecting these different domestic networks. It's just another roadblock in the last mile payment experience. In an attempt to create more cross-border interoperability between the different local payment networks, industry players are building new capabilities atop the complicated web of legacy systems. This practice is not fixing the root cause of slow global payments. Rather, these solutions are glossing over the original prohibitive infrastructure. Until this base infrastructure is improved, performance will always be limited. yeah, kind of like what I thought that was going to say was until morale improves, the beatings will continue. Come on,
There you
man.
go.
At least, All right. The adoption of blockchain
Sorry, I had to
alleviate
step
these.
away. I had to step away for a second, so sorry about
Oh,
that.
it's yeah. Okay. I'm just teasing. By unifying the underlying infrastructure and uniting the framework of institutions and suppliers working on top of it, thereby eliminating the seamless fast mile process meets the consumer's expectations and needs. Right. So basically, that was spelling out, looks like the problem that XRP is solving. Is that right?
Yes.
It was the last mile of all this. How when I found out how complicated it was, it's like, God, they've waited this long to fix it.
Yeah.
And this is how it's been being done. I mean, my God, it's like the Pony Express, right? Delivering mail on horseback.
Yeah, something like that. Especially when it comes to like BTC, so unbelievably slow. Anyway.
Let me see. Can I look at my channel real fast? Let's see what we got over here.
Sure.
We got some new peeps. Looks like we got 23 watching.
Yeah, we had kind of a massive drop off, but that's okay. It's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
We're having a good time. Everybody that's still here having a good time. Let's see. Value dropped like a stone after the SEC claiming to be a security. Yeah. SEC knows better. XYO weekly, according to the company. XYO. That's another coin, isn't it? Yeah, that's they got those little gadgets.
Never got it.
I had that. I actually sold it at a peak. It's it's like a some kind of a verification system for GPS verification is part of its job. It's an interesting coin and idea. And they're talking about embedding the chips and everything, TVs, so that everything's communicating with everything to verify locations for purposes of, self-driving cars and blah, 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 blah.
That sounds cool.
XYO. Yes. Somebody, let's see, JASMY and junk. XYO acts as a replacement for GPS. Yes. In fact, I got a small computer here. What do they call it? Not a BlackBerry. What is the little computers? Not a BlackBerry. What is it? I forget. Anyway.
I don't know, man.
You're distracted, my friend.
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry about that.
Raspberry Pi. There you go, Gerald. Blackberry Pi, cobbler, something. I was into that particular network. All righty.
All right. Well, I guess we will say sayonara from the Rice Crop Consortium. Something like that.
Show enough.
All right. Well, I'll stick around. I think I'll get into this Q&T segment. Not a whole lot watching. 22 people. Jeez. Maybe I just save it for tomorrow, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things. On over on your side, we have 27. So.
Woo! 27 wonderful people.
That's what my old partner used to say all the time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he used to always say, 27 wonderful, beautiful people here. I don't really know why. I'm like, God, man, really? Anyway, don't really want to focus on that guy, but you get one side.
Well, yeah, this has been an interesting few days for XRP. Interesting week, really. The last week or so.
Yeah, no doubt. I love this guy's username. I responded to your comment earlier on one of the recorded videos, Guns Loaded. So, little known fact, I think some people know, Guns N' Roses is my favorite band from the 80s. Also like, of course, Van Halen. I know you're a huge Van Halen guy. But love the name. Welcome. Glad to see you. Thought I'd at least welcome you. It says, let's go, JASMY. Absolutely.
Hey, I got something a little off topic for you.
It's okay. Go for it.
What is Medal of Honor Reunited?
Oh, it's a VR game. It's not called
okay.
Reunited. It's called Medal of Honor Reborn, or I forgot what it's called. Something like that.
Yeah, it says, well, I'm on the side. It says Reunited. That's what it says. Huh. All right, I'll check it out. That's not for this crowd. Probably. All right. Well, I think I'm going to hit it, Max.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's not difficult. I think it's just his mic, you guys. That's okay. It's no big deal.
My mic?
Yeah, you get some kind of feedback or something like that, but it's no big deal.
Really?
Yeah, makes some kind of weird noise, but it's okay. Are you there? Oh, I guess you're there.
Yeah, I just muted it. Yeah, my button's blinking over here, or the light on this thing's blinking, so I don't know what the cause of that is. Does it sound okay?
Yeah, but it chopped off your video feed. Interesting.
Huh.
Got rid of your camera. Well, no worries.
All right. Well, I was getting ready to go anyway. Let's see. Yeah, sorry about that. Difficulties.
That's okay, man.
All right, everybody. Hey, God bless everybody. Appreciate everybody showing up that showed up. Y'all have a good night. Man. All right, man.
You take care, Will.
All right, buddy.
Love you too, buddy. Take it easy.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
To anybody who's just tuning in, we are now going to get into some of the Q&T coverage. Let's just read a couple more things. Heck yes, brother. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, an appetite for destruction. I mean, every song is great. That's just my opinion, at least. I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way. All right. Gerald, welcome. Glitching the Matrix, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. We'll get into some coverage. Sometimes we have some distractions and whatnot. I guess we'll have some last-minute distractions. Things like this are going to happen. All right. So let's use Gerald's comment as a bookmark, and we're going to get into it. So let's jump into the Q&T that we have for tonight, and let me just pull up some branding real quick because it kind of helps me with my little markers later on when I chop it up. All right, guys. So if you're just tuning in, bottom line is this. All right. Please smash the like, even though you feel like maybe you shouldn't. It does help. I know that we only have about 44 likes here tonight. We'll fix the side. There's about 40, so that's not too bad. But basically speaking, I want to talk about something that you may have absolutely no clue about, and that's okay. Your main key takeaway is going to be QNT and Samsung. Now that sounds pretty bold, does it not? Let's jump into it. So I'm going to pull this up, and basically speaking, I want to get into a lot of the nitty-gritty of all of this. So for one, I'm going to share something from you guys, because some people have been complaining in regards to QNT, stating that the price doesn't move. The price does move. Think about it, guys. Last month, it was down to about $85, and currently speaking, it's about roughly 104 to 106. That ain't price movement. I don't know what really is, but I mean, everybody's wishing for one moon, but Quant is a long-term hold anyway. So take a look into this, and once again, I'd like to give props and shout out to the one and only Quant Papa for all his great research. So for one, look at this. Look what's highlighted here. And it states Gilbert Verdian, CEO and founder of Quant, a company involved in the development of central bank digital currencies. We talked about CBDCs earlier for the Ripple segment. It says mostly in the UK and the US, insisted that users shouldn't be worried about privacy when it comes to CBDC technology. And I love the statement. We've seen it before. For you newcomers, take a look at this for a second, just in case you think that the focus is on retail. It has never been on retail. This quote, we can categorically state that the central bank does not care how much people spend on sandwiches. Can you imagine him using that type of terminology? Yeah, they don't care what people do with spending their money on sandwiches. It's not their mission. That's basically a nice way of saying retail is not their focus. Brad Garlinghouse has even said that before. So if retail is not the focus, what's their focus? Maybe the tokenization of CBDCs, APIs, all sorts of things, right? Interoperability, but more to it than just that. We always talk about interoperability, but we're going to break down what exactly ISO TC 307 is, because it's one thing to talk about all these cool standards, but do you truly understand the standards? So Verdian said at the Financial Times Crypto and Digital Asset Summit, what is happening is the same rules of AML, KYC, KYC are going to be applied to central bank currencies as they are today to any form of money from, of course, commercial banks. Let me take you over to something. This is from World News Today. So look what it says. Back in October 6th of 2020, some of you guys know this, but let's refresh you. The merger of Nexi and SIA is a big deal. Now, I've done more than enough deep dives about SIA, and I've done a few in regards to Nexi Group, okay? But I want to share this with you, and that is that news from back then was big, absolutely huge. Why was it? Because they had an agreement to merge and create a new group that will have estimated capitalization of more than 15 billion euros. The new company will be more than 10 of the most valuable companies listed on the Milan Stock Exchange. But look what it says here. The merger, at least back then, basically will allow for Europe in the digital payment sector to have like the whole country of Europe basically to be on an electronic payment method such as credit cards, debit cards, but access to this new system, this new monetary system, right? We know about SIA, but look at this statement here. Nexi's investors will have around 70% of the new group. SIA will have 30%. Eventually, the new company will have CDP as the main shareholder with 25% shares. But the goal of the merger is to create the leading Europe digital payment company, as it says in the press release, released back then in 2020, relating to the operation, which there is also talk of strong expansion both in Italy, where the new group would already have 70% of the market share, and above all abroad. Think about that for a second. Now I want to take you to some screenshots. And Quan Papa did a good job of kind of giving us some of these visuals. Sorry, I hit the wrong button on that one. So you see here, American Express, MasterCard, obviously Gilbert Verdian, VocalLink when it comes to MasterCard, his days with VocalLink. You have Visa, JCB, Diners Club. Does anybody even really have Diners Club nowadays here in the United States? I'm just throwing that out there. I think maybe my grandparents might have had that. Anyway, top right, Nexi. Every day, every pay. And you see all these ones being used here. Okay. Let's jump into this next part. Look at this. Visual for you, right? Bottom right, Samsung Pay. You have Google Pay. You have Apple Pay. Now, the reason why I'm pointing out all this stuff for you guys is because a while back, not too long ago, we talked about, for instance, Quant. We talked about Google Pay. We talked about how big that could be, right? Absolutely huge. But what about Samsung and Quant? How the heck is that even possible? Well, you got to dive more into it. You got to see more of it with actual visualizations. So Quant Papa found this a while back, and it's in regards to the use cases presented at the Tech Sprint Demo Day event. Now, what is really cited here? What's cited here is what's in the bottom left corner. It's the Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub, aka Project Rosalind. Now, in this section, you will see that they have all sorts of things, like different use cases. Like I'll pull up, for instance, UC7, even though it's not highlighted. A use case that demonstrated how CBDCs could be used to improve the efficiency of payments for the I can't pronounce that right tonight. I'm having a hard time tonight. Interrent or gig economy, apologize, where the employer and the worker could agree on programmable payments to be released upon the completion of the work. We talked about, side gigs, all this stuff. But when you get into UC9 in regards to the Innovation Hub report from the BIS, it states that a set of 4 use cases that demonstrate how a traveler in a foreign country could use an app. Think about this for a second, guys, especially if you're not quite with me. Use an app to set up an eSIM on his or her phone to make secure payments, both online and offline, and to securely store CBDCs with a time limit to spend the funds. This is big. Why is this so big? Well, let's take it to the next part. This is straight from the horse's mouth, Mr. Gilbert Verdian. Back all the way in 2019, Gilbert Verdian has stated that Samsung are the type of companies that we are speaking to take our technology to their clients. How so? Well, let me show you just a tad bit more. This guy asked Gilbert Verdian an update in regards to Samsung and Quant, basically. I'd be asking him, especially if I had access to Gilbert Verdian. States from this guy, Dread Bongo. Gilbert, can you share any updates in regards to the whole thing of Samsung, basically? Gilbert Verdian states, we had a good trip to South Korea and met with the Samsung team at their office after they met us in London earlier. Can't say anything more than that because of, non-disclosure agreements. I've stated this numerous times. People don't believe about the whole thing about NDAs. I don't know why they don't, but it's a real thing. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of things. And it doesn't mean that they don't exist. It just means they're not going to talk about them. When things get really quiet, always watch out for some of these guys. They're doing things. They're building their background. What's a perfect example of this? What we've seen in 2022, especially in 2022, when it came to XDC. So much criticism about XDC and staying quiet, and look what happened with that. All right. You can even apply it to some things like JASMY. You can apply it to basically anything. Now, here is something that I want to share with you guys. And on this one, I might just go ahead and put on a different screen to make it that much bigger. Actually, that's not going to work because this comes from Discord. So you see here, it says NexiSoft POS. And it says the NexiSoft POS, and it has this particular language, right? I can't really decipher it. But, it has a reference to Alpha Bank. Shows, for instance, MasterCard, Visa, Google Pay, and also Apple Pay, right? But the bottom right says Samsung Pay. Interesting. Why is that so interesting? Well, you can have an idea of how it's all tied in together. For one, we talked about Nexi. We've talked about VocalLink. You know, we've done numerous coverage about all this. You know, you have to keep in mind that, you know, there's chips that could be literally placed into the smartphones to allow for instance, interoperability, but not just interoperability, actually have utility in motion, constantly in motion. How is that even so? Some people ask that, how is that even so? Well, I want to show you guys this, because you did see that example on the previous slide earlier, talking specifically about the whole case of a app. Let me jump back to this for a second. The use of an app to set up an eSIM. Don't forget that. That's why I'm going back to this for a second. eSIM in your phone to make secure payments both online and offline, to secure store CBCs with a time limit to spend the funds. Crazy. How about UC11? I didn't get a chance to get in this part. A use case in which Roslyn APIs, because we know that connects to the Quant Overledger, could facilitate saving and borrowing activities within a defined group chosen by the individual. UC12, a use case demonstrating how a CBC digital wallet can integrate with the existing POS interface to enable payments in shops and support merchant adoption. This part right here is not done on purpose, but you can even throw JASMY into the mix with what they're doing with the Super Wallet. Say what you want, that spells Super Wallet all over it. All over it. Now, I'm going to take it to a little bit more of what we have, because, you know, we got to round this out pretty well. You guys know who this guy is. He gets a lot of criticism and so on, right? He's a big guy like myself. He is Mr. Augustine Carstens. He is the head honcho over at the Bank of International Settlements. He says, quote, a unified programmable ledger could unleash an explosion of innovation in payments and money comparable to the arrival of the smartphone. Don't you love how Quant Papa has given you this breakdown from beginning to where we're at now? I mean, if this doesn't paint the picture of the bigger picture, then I don't know what to tell you. Because to me, it definitely does. All you have to do is go back in the past and realize some of the connections that Quant has done, especially when it comes to Samsung. And guess what? That still exists. Go look more into it for yourself. But the NDA. Now, last I checked, by having a deal with something like Samsung, you know, and taking this thing, for instance, to South Korea is a big deal. And it is game changer, because what Samsung especially has in regards to, you know, being one of the top manufacturers of not just, you know, cell phones and so on, but especially, like, let's face it, televisions, you name it. Heck, I even have a Samsung smart washing machine, Samsung TV. There's LG TVs as well, but South Korea is killing it when it comes to all this technology. BIS chief floats unified programmable ledger to turbocharge payments. A unified programmable ledger could unleash an explosion, like he mentions. All right, take you over to this. Gilbert Verdian, all the way back June 28, 2020. So this guy asked Gilbert Verdian, he says, TCH, do we partner with them? He says, no, I worked on TCH implementing the U.S. payment infrastructure when I was the CISO of VocalLink. Back to the whole thing of VocalLink. You know, old past experiences, and using that, applying it to strategic partnerships for Samsung and some of these other things that we're currently getting into. Enabling partnerships that might have seemed like it's sitting dormant by having comments like what you see here, once again, from Augustine Carstens about a smartphone, but not just any smartphone, a unified programmable ledger. You've seen other content creators talk about unified programmable ledger. I even think I saw Mr. Cypress Domanicore talking about this. So getting into all this, Gilbert Verdian has quite the outline here. And of course, this was posted all the way back on August 2nd, but I realize not everybody here follows Gilbert Verdian, and that's okay. He says, for a second, he thought Apple was using the Apple dollar. He's going to reference quite a few things there. He's going to talk about stablecoins and so on. But he talks about he wouldn't be surprised if big tech entered the banking market this way. Tokenized commercial money native to their platform wallets. For example, iOS, Android, and enable for billions of the customers to transact. Now, this is in regards to AOUSD, Alliance for OpenUSD. Of course, I think I showed you guys this whole thing a while back about this back and forth he had with this other guy. They had a little tiff, and then they forgave each other, which is good. But the cool thing is you never really see Gilbert Verdian citing PayPal too often, right? You might see, obviously, Elon Musk doing that, but not so much Gilbert Verdian. He states that, there's this thing in regards to this Apple article. And of course, they have this back and forth conversation. But your key takeaway is not the TIFF. It's this mission from the AOUSD, Alliance for Open USD, to foster standardization, development, evolution, growth of the Open USD. There's standards for a reason. Like I mentioned the previous segment with Will Fix. We have standards. They have to exist. You can't have the Wild West of crypto. It's not going to exist anymore. But look what it says. Interoperability of 3D content through OpenUSD universal scene description. Look how it's labeled here. Universal scene description. What about a universal ledger, basically? Unified ledger. Standardizing the 3D ecosystem will enable developers and content creators to describe, compose, and simulate large-scale 3D projects and build an ever-widening range of 3D products and services. They forgive each other in a little tiff. That's not the point. Let's take you to this next part. And I need to give you guys some basic notes. So the reason why I'm going to share some basic notes in regards to all this and why it matters so much is so many people are asking, especially now, when do we see more financial services and their incumbents to I can't even talk tonight. Integrate digital asset flows with tokenized money such as commercial bank deposits, liabilities. I mean, I'd be asking that. If I was an audience member, I'd be totally asking this. Liabilities, regulated stablecoins, and of course, just that the hot topic of CBDCs. It's a great question. Well, when I got more into this, from what I gathered, the integration of digital asset flows with tokenized money such as commercialized bank accounts, liabilities, stablecoins, CBDCs, the whole shebang, by financial services incumbents is expected to accelerate in the coming years due to, of course, several factors. There's three key factors that you want to take away from all of this. Number one is increased demand, of course, for these particular digital assets. There's a growing demand, as we know, whether it's from the BIS, whether it's from the Bank of England, you name it, but especially when it comes to institutional investors, your BlackRocks, your Vanguards, your State Streets, et cetera, et cetera. But even retail investors for the exposure to just that, these particular digital assets. The demand is being driven by a force that's referred to as the potential for high returns and the diversification and the benefits of digital assets. No kidding. Now, we did talk about regulatory developments. So that's the second biggest thing. Regulators around the world are working on developing frameworks, of course, for the regulation of these particular digital assets. These frameworks are expected to provide greater clarity and certainty for financial institutions. Right. If there wasn't no clarity, you wouldn't see any of these hints of these ETFs. I'm just going to be honest. You're now starting to see it because we finally do have some form of framework. We especially have it in Japan because they took it over also to another place that especially has it, which is Europe. But in the United States, it's more like it's being introduced to Congress, but it's not been fully passed. How do we get to that? Well, we'll get to it soon. How about technological advancements? Technological advancements are making it easier for more efficient companies and organizations basically to integrate all of the above in regards to these digital asset flows with traditional financial systems. You're seeing so many examples of, is there interoperability with the old systems? Yes. The answer is yes. It has to be. You can't just have the flip of the switch, like some people have stated, without being able to have that option of people who have not necessarily come on over to the new platform yet. There's that whole thing of having everybody come in. I remember Elon Musk using an example on the Joe Rogan podcast, mentioning about, when can we actually get to the point where, all the cars in the world are all electric? I think he said 2050, because he was talking about a period of time, even with automobiles, that takes basically 22 years for, car to be technically taken and then even be sent to like the junkyard or, to be smashed up or whatever, and used for parts or whatever the case be, for the impound. There's technological advancements in regards to this, make it easier, more efficient, right? If I could talk about this. But there is no specific timeline in regards to integration. However, what always appears to be something that's like, that's on the radar of everybody is this whole thing with ISO 222, because of what's happening here soon, especially when it comes to the 19th coming up. I don't necessarily believe that that's going to be like crazy price shock. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm more looking at from like massive, deadlines for November 2025 and whatnot. But it is clear that this trend is gaining momentum, and I couldn't agree more in regards to that. Now, let me pull up some more information in regards to some of this. And this is straight from Gilbert Verdian once again. Here it is. He was talking about this use case. You got to keep in mind, for some people who don't know, Quant was originally known as Remit. They started all the way back in 2013. And as we know, Quant didn't go live with their particular token offering of the QNT token until 2018. But they have started in 2013 under the name of Remit. If you don't believe me, even if you go back into it, Remit, like it says, we are creating a blockchain internet. Quant Network connects the networks to blockchain. We're starting by creating the blockchain ISO standard. What standard? The ISO TC 307 standard. Basically, concept 2015, realized in 2016. So all of this was developed long before a QNT token offering. We talk about this use case being behind the idea of launching Remit all the way back in 2013. In which you have blockchain rails to settle tokenized money for cross-border remittance flows. Fast forward 10 years later to where we're at now with what Quant's accomplished with the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of England, and so on. But I love this, and I want you guys to pay attention to this, even if you're watching this either on the live or the chopped up version. The idea was to embed new blockchain payment flows into banking apps and super apps. When this gets chopped up later, you could basically state that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of even JASMY, Quant and JASMY once again, because when it comes to the super wallet, you can have a broader idea of how all this is tied in to create not just interoperability, but to just simply make an enabler of all this. He cites X, right? Formerly known as Twitter. And Dyor Verdian talks about X and PayPal are the ones to first implement the tokenized money use case at scale. This is absolutely huge. Why is this so huge? Well, if you've been paying attention to X or listened to any particular interviews from Elon Musk, Musk has specifically mentioned, quote unquote, and I wish I had a little video for you, but I don't. You can look into it for yourself. You've probably even seen a short at some point. But Elon Musk talks about at some point you could very well see half of the world's commerce flow into X. When I see a statement like this about the idea of Remit, before it was even called Quant, to embed new blockchain payment flows into banking apps and super apps, I just think to myself, this is huge. Gilbert Verney has tagged, because, Mr. Elon, not Elon Musk, Elon Musk, aka Mike Cornwell, Crypto Mike, he always tags me, right? And you guys are always welcome to tag me. But Gilbert Verdian always tags Elon Musk, the real Elon Musk, quite often. And I always think to myself, you better believe that these guys have conversations. They know about each other, right? PayPal, one of the first to implement the tokenized money use case at scale, like it says, X and PayPal. And back in 2013, 10 years ago, the underlying blockchain foundation, interoperable infrastructure, of course, didn't exist. The gap that we saw was to pivot and first solve the underlying infrastructure and gateway for institution enterprise through interoperability, which became Overledger. Right. Remit, rebranded, call themselves basically Quant Network. This thinking led to the establishing, of course, like we know, of ISO TC 307, and just basically outline that for you. It, of course, evolved into Quant Network back in 2017, and as we know, QNT went live with the token offering in 2018. Now, fast forward to 2023, the underlying foundation, interoperable blockchain infrastructure are, of course, in place for institutional and enterprise use, hence why I cited the whole thing with Project Rosalind, the BIS, Bank of England. It's a matter of time for more financial services incumbents to integrate digital asset flows with tokenized money, such as commercial bank deposits, liabilities, regulated stablecoins, CBDC. Every single time I look more into this, I draw the conclusion that Quant is not just doing the whole thing of, a digital pound, but even like we shared earlier on the beginning of this outline, what's going on in the United States. And look at what's even cited here from last August in regards to the US dollar. Boom, right there. We already know about the pound, but how about like the yen? And even, of course, a euro. So it covers everything. We talk about Quant being the API for everything. Quant also needs to be recognized as the CBDC tokenization engine for everything. Their approach. Look at this for a second. Remit multi-gateway. eKYC AML. You have Jumio, iSign, Identity Mine, Block Score, ID to blockchain mapping, blockchain gateway. How about this? ID to blockchain mapping. Now, you don't see it listed here, but that would be where Nexera would definitely come in. Okay. Especially with what they're trying to do when it comes to one of many things, but one of the things that stands out is in regards to a digital passport, especially like all over Europe. Say what you want, about Nexera, that's a big, big deal. Quant is always mentioned in regards to regional gateways. So let's talk about a few of these. Ripple, Stellar, yes, even Ethereum, right? Some of the old legacy systems. But look what it says in regards to the kind of dimmed out area. Mobile top up prepaid debit. Again, think about the whole thing, what they got going on with Samsung. And of course, some of the other ones. We're going to get more into this. I know it seems like a lot, but it's a good thing to understand when you get more into it. And I'm going to pull up this as well. Here we go. This is good stuff. So let's blow this up. This comes straight from the World Standard Corporation PDF. And you may be wondering, why am I sharing this? This is really, really good. I'll drop into the comments. The reason why I'm sharing this for you tonight is because I want you to understand the bigger picture of things. So back on January 23rd, 2023, which ironically is the anniversary date of DPG, it talks about ISO quite a few times. And if anything, I want to get to the specifics about this. So actually, I will shrink this down a little bit just so it can fit on the screen. But I want to get into the landscape of ISO along with the existing fields. And I'm just going to get into the good parts of all this. So we're just going to highlight some things. You guys know how I do the Control F. Control F can be your best friend if you allow it to be. So it talks about, for instance, these different fields, and basically it's all sorts of different things, right? There's different standards. But what about the 307, ISO TC 307 standard? Why specifically that? Well, for one, the fields. So you see, for instance, digital currency fintech, ISO TC 307, blockchain distributed ledger technologies. And when you get more into this, you will see other categories that this is under the blanket of. Let's jump into it. So you also see here that you have, this whole thing of distributed ledger technologies, DLT, blockchain, right? ISO TC 307 is cited here again. But on the bottom, you see it right here. And it talks about blockchain and distributed ledger technologies and IT security techniques. Let's jump to the next part. ISO TC 307, blockchain and electronic distributed ledger technologies, obviously, but this is under the a different section. Hold on, let me pull up the other one. And this part, again, back to the whole thing, especially when it comes to JASMY, identity management, digital identity identification. Once again, ISO TC 307, blockchain distributed ledger technologies. Jump it down a little bit more into this. This part is absolutely huge. Were you aware that when it comes to metaverse, because sometimes people are kind of tired to hear about the metaverse, I look at the metaverse as like, the concept of when I drive by, a place down the street and there's just all this like development, but, and then you went from like having a building or actually just a few pieces of wood or whatever the part of the structure. And then you get to the point where it's just like there's this whole thing built, but there's nobody in it yet. Look kind of like at the metaverse like that. Like it's eventually going to be utilized. It's not the concept of, modern malls where most of these malls, let's face it, are becoming, like ghost towns. But when it states this whole thing about the metaverse, there's standards even when it comes to the metaverse. Were you aware of that? Well, one of the standards that really stands out is ISO TC 307, blockchain distributed ledger technologies. This standard applies to the metaverse. And getting more into this last part, and again, from that link I just sent you guys, about security, cybersecurity, trust, and privacy. Once again, ISO TC 307, cited right here. All right. So standards mean something. They're there for a reason. Gilbert Verdian invented this back in 2015 and had it realized in 2016 for a specific reason. And when you get more into this and take a deeper dive, you will see that you have blockchain distributed ledger technologies listed here once again. And, this is straight from the ISO standards site. This talks about sustainable development goals. The committee contributes to 17 standards to the following sustainable development goals. Published ISO standards, observing members, all this stuff here, right? You got DLT carbon markets. I mean, there's quite a few things, especially this one. Security, privacy, identity, right? This working group. Let me pull up a little bit more about this. But if you can see this for yourself, 307, SBP Review Advisory Group, Liaison, Digital Currencies, DLT, and Carbon Markets. Carbon markets. So even with what JASMY is trying to do in regards to, and now we joke about it a lot, the Rice Crop Consortium, there's a standard for that. They would need to have the working group to work with it, which would be the Quant Network Standard, right? Boom, there it is, in regards to carbon markets. So when they talk about the Rice Crop Consortium, well, you're going to have to work with that working group. How about for more increased security, privacy, identity for blockchain? Yes, that working group is still ISO TC 307, the Quant Network Standard. Smart contracts and their applications. We talk about the super wallet and stuff. Working group, ISO TC 307. Boom, right here. So it's not like, we're at the point where this is just speculative anymore. I want people to understand that because I take you straight to the actual sources to verify some of these things. Now, when it comes to some of these things, we understand that in the future, we're going to see, utility-based NFTs. Well, look at this for a second. So for one, you do have that. There's a standard for that, ISO TC 307. And even with Overledger, we know that you have QRC 721 in regards to that smart NFT, I guess you could say, platform under the quant umbrella of Overledger. There is governance that falls into compliance in regards to Japanese regulations and so on. Obviously, multiple use cases. Interoperability, guys, even though I pound it home all the time, is just the tip of the iceberg. I wanted you to finally understand and see how this is all broken down. It's all right here. It's all for you to see. And if you want to see that for yourself, just in case you want the source, I will put that into the comments for you. Hopefully you do see that. Yes, you do. And like it says, joint working groups under the responsibility of another committee. You have some of these other standards that even work, like other ISO standards also working with ISO TC 307, just like for the example of ISO 222 with the messaging, also with ISO TC 307. So when we say that, ISO TC 307, when you really look into ISO standards, they are the cream of the crop. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to show you now, I think, a video in regards to ISO standards. And yes, let's go ahead and play this here in a minute. It's about sustainable development goals. It's 2 hours. Excuse me. Hope not. 2 minutes and 14 seconds in regards to ISO and the sustainable development goals. Appreciate the coverage. Please make sure that you have basically, smash the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Now, for some reason, I was thinking that I could do a full screen. I don't know why I can't do a full screen. So what we'll do is we'll play it from here, and I'll try to take myself out of the frame for you to see it. Here we go. I apologize. I wasn't on the right tab. All right, let me get you over to the right tab. Sorry about that. Wondering what was going on with that. All right, let's just pull this up. Sorry about that. I'll edit that out later. Here we go.
With increasing demands placed on the planet by a growing population, sustainable development is one of the biggest challenges we are facing today. The United Nations 2030 Agenda represents a global consensus to achieve sustainable development worldwide in just over a decade, ensuring that no one is left behind. The 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the SDGs, adopted in the framework of the 2030 Agenda, are a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. International standards tackle a host of global issues. As a catalyst for innovation and best practice, they are solutions for industries, businesses, and communities. They also help protect consumers from unsafe and harmful products. As such, international standards are key to supporting the implementation of the SDGs and making them a reality. ISO works with leading experts and partners from around the globe to provide relevant tools that can be applied everywhere. From climate change to energy efficiency, our standards respond to global needs and help benchmark our progress against the SDGs. How can ISO contribute to the United Nations goals? ISO has set up the SDG Standards Mapping Tool, containing some 600 standards that contribute to the SDGs. The dedicated section on ISO.org represents a first ever attempt for ISO to consolidate standards in support of the SDGs in a coherent way. Users around the world will increasingly find in our collection of international standards solutions to ensure the sustainable development of the planet. Together, with ISO standards, we can contribute to making the 2030 agenda a reality, so no one is left behind.
All right, so kind of cool to see that, right? Oh, everybody likes a little video once in a while. But I want to jump into IBM for a second. All right, I know it sounds crazy to even mention IBM, but we need to reference them. It's good stuff. So let's get into this in regards to IBM. And I'm going to go ahead and share this. This also comes from Quant Papa, so I can't take all the credit for the finding. Let's go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Here's another link I'm going to drop for you guys, just in case if you want to nerd that out, because sometimes there's always one person that will ask in regards to, sources and so on. So here's a source. So basically speaking, this comes straight from IBM. And look what it says. IBM Blockchain 2018. This is a particular PDF that we decided to get more into. Now, keep in mind, this is in German, I believe, but it talks about this agenda, mentions ISO TC 307. I'm not going to get into all of this. Some of it, of course, is in English, which is good. But it talks about transferring assets, building value, and so on. Tangible assets. Talks about two fundamental types of assets, like, we're always talking about real estate and so on. So ledgers are key. This is all the way back when? What did we say it was? 2016? 2018? 2016. Yeah, that's correct. But we get into all these examples, and it becomes clear that, IBM had a whole idea of what they were looking to do in regards to all this. But let's just jump into some of the standards, for instance. So for one, their agenda with the IBM blockchain, for instance, was to take this to like a whole new level. And you even see on this particular page, I think it's page 76, about blockchain standardization with ISO TC 307. And look at this for a second. International Standardization Organization structure. They even had a structure made up years ago. Look at this for a second, just in case you missed it. Blockchain standardization, ISO TC 307 structure. This is even from IBM. Every single one of these that's shown here show ISO TC 307. Reference architecture, taxonomy and ontology, use cases, security and privacy, identity, smart contracts, governance of blockchain and distributed ledger technology systems, interoperability of blockchain distributed ledger technology systems, terminology, of course, and even security, privacy, and identity. This is all the way back in 2016. They had this structure. You got to keep in mind, ISO TC 307 was finally introduced to the world in 2016, and IBM decided to go all after it, like a fat kid on cake, as I would say. Now, in regards to the whole thing with JASMY, I want you guys to see this for a second. I know I'm out of the frame, but oh well. The emphasis should be on this. Some people have questioned some of these things, like we established the whole thing of IoT, JASMY, and Quant. But now JASMY is entering into an AI blockchain solution. Look at this for a second. What does it say here? Plain as day, artificial intelligence, blockchain, distributed ledger technologies, ISO TC 307, and even some of these other working groups. That's what WG stands for, by the way, if you don't understand what that meant. So you have ISO TC 307, Working Group 6, Blockchain Distributed Ledger Technologies, use cases. But it's all cited here, right? The working group will be with ISO IEC JTC 1/SC42, Artificial Intelligence. That's incredible. That tells me that instead of just interoperability, you have to work with these working groups. And if you have to work with the working groups, that tells me also that QNT is part of everything that we can possibly imagine. Not just the whole thing with APIs, it's the actual standards plus the working groups. What will that mean in regards to these assets that we hold? I think it means a lot. And with that said, let me come out of the frame. What does it mean for you as being a QNT holder and especially JASMY holder? You know, I think for the last couple of days, I talked your guys' ears off with this. Maybe you appreciate it. Maybe you get kind of worn out with it. But, you know, let's face it, guys. There's been a lot of FUD, once again, for both projects. Know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD, and that's exactly what it is. FUD, 110%. Are people covering this because they just want the views, because it's popular to cover FUD? I don't know. But you know what? I'm in this to make money, and I see a lot of use case. I see a lot of upside potential with these particular assets. That's going to conclude our quant/JASMY coverage of the night. The last bit of coverage we'll get into here in a bit. And if anything, I think I'll save this for tomorrow. So let me read the last bit of comments. Let me see where we're at. I do need to wrap things up. I got to go pick up this kid here soon. All right. But JASMY and Junk, thank you for being here. Love that, the spoon, right, from the first Matrix, the best Matrix of them all. Looking under that QNT hood, QNT's long-term hold is a 100-year hold. You got past the generation to generation to generation to generation. All right. You prefer her boobs in motion? I can't blame you on that. All right. Hey, boys, all I got to say is, woo, woo, what a time to be alive. Yes, thank you for being here, Jerry. Let's welcome you. Yeah, that is excessively obese BIS guy. Obese like Della Reese. You lose teeth like little seeds. I always say that, don't I? Gerald, I'm very interested in this quant info, but can't keep eyes open. We'll watch the rest tomorrow. No worries. No worries. I don't expect you guys to watch the full from beginning to end. But it's okay. John Francis, I don't trust the BIS. Agree, Max takes time. It does take time. All right. Let's see here. Good to see River. And you're very welcome. No problem. Yvonne Medeiros, BlackRock has not officially confirmed. A Bitcoin master confirmed on behalf of BlackRock. His source is anonymous. Lol. Oh, that's all right. We could agree to disagree. It's okay. IBM is the bread for peanut butter and jelly. You're screwing with my head again with the JS, but that's okay. Yes. Say tabs. Tabs. What's wrong with me saying tabs? I don't know. All right, guys. I got to go. Wish you could stay longer, but I do got to go. So with that said, please smash the like on your way out. The coverage will be chopped up tonight. Probably only the QNT, to be honest. I know we kind of had a struggle earlier today. We have our highs. We have our lows. Yeah, have a great night, everybody. Sayonara from the Rice Crop Consortium. We're over and out. Let's go.